It's a little crazy. I have to say, I just want to take one question, one stop. Hey, Facebook Live, if you missed the beginning, how about you go to YouTube? You can probably catch it later, or you can get the beginning if you go to the podcast later on today. Sorry about that. We are having some difficulty, and I did not hit the live stream till just now. So forgive me. I screwed up twice today, I guess. But anyways, getting back on track. Yeah, I feel like sometimes I feel like I have deja vu. Like this is just I don't know. I don't know if it's the coronavirus or what's going on with the maybe we're in some kind of twilight zone ourselves, or like the one episode we had months ago that 2012 actually happened. We all died and this is hell. Okay, so it's like Groundhog's Day. I swear, it's
True.
like I don't know. It's nuts. But getting back to deja vu, did you ever feel like you've been here before, like, or you're living a different life, but you have memories of a past life?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And it, yeah, and I will tell you, I did have a past life reading one time, and I was a witch.
Oh,
Yeah, I was a witch, and I got drowned because I was a witch.
oh. Well, I had something. I had to keep having a reoccurring dream that I was in World War II, and I
Okay,
was behind a fence, and I remember I was hiding, and it was too late. One of the Germans threw a grenade, and I died. But I had that
okay,
over and over. It's really weird, but I had that memory. It's like a dream, but it feels more like a memory. But
okay.
our guest knows a little bit about this tonight, so that's where I'm going to right now.
Hmm.
And Corby, oh, I screwed it up again. Mitt lied. I hope I got that right. Has been on the mystic path for over 40 years, meeting challenges, always questioning, leading the exam life. This road has illuminated an essential cosmic truth for her. God gives all of us what we need for a life filled with miracles and joy. And as long as our hearts are open wide and aligned with our source energy, anything is possible. And it never hurts to bring laughter on the path with you. If she can share the blessings with you. She feels she's doing it right. These are her words. Corby is a psychic and a medium, reading since 1973. She travels coast to coast and into Canada as a full-time intuitive counselor, and she's appeared on frequently on radio and television, and is an inspirational speaker, teacher, and felicitator. She has featured on channels in Robert Short's breakthrough series, Your Soul's Planned, Your Soul's Gift, and is herself the author of Clean Out Your Life Closet, The Psychic Yellow Brick Road, and You've Got the Magic, and We Need a Genie. Corby,
Bam.
welcome to Chasing Prophecy. So glad to have you here this evening.
It's good to be here.
Great. I want to talk to you about your past life readings, but before we get started, I read and I watched on your YouTube channel that you had a an experience going back to 9/11,
Yes.
and when that happened, you decided you wanted to do psychic readings and being a psychic full time. And I know you talked about you read the book. Oh, geez, The Witch. Help me out here.
The Witch Family. It's a
The
children's book. I read it when I was 9.
the Witch Family. And when you did you have anything before that happen, like growing up, that might have led you instead of your? I know you talked about the 70s and how you got tarot cards at Spencer's Gifts, but was there anything happened before that that might have led you down this path?
I was the different one in my family. My father was an internist cardiologist. My mother was a nurse. My brother was going to med school. He's pediatric pulmonology. I was a theater major. I wrote. I was so not where they were. I could have tap danced on the dining room table and recited Shakespeare. They wouldn't have seen it. So I was always looking for answers that nobody else had. Um, my family was very discouraging of that kind of thing. To this day, my brother doesn't really like to talk about the fact that his sister is a psychic.
Mm.
So it wasn't until I really got out on my own that the cracks started to show.
Wow.
9, 10, 11, 12, and then high school it all blew open.
That's amazing. And I want to let our audience know that if you have a question for Corby or would like to have a mini reading, you can give the station a call at 504-273-7379, 204-273-7379 for a mini reading or question or comment. But I think that's fascinating, Corby. Sean, what are your thoughts on that?
Corby, I do have to ask you a question. Whenever you started to experience the spiritual world, did something happen drastically to you that made you like, I call it a walk-in where your old soul leaves and a new one pops in. And the reason why I say that is because when stuff happens like that, a lot of people it happened to me back in 1983. And I started to see things, hear things, and feel things that weren't there. And I was just wondering if something like that happened to you. You don't have to explain the situation if it did, but I was just wondering maybe if something happened.
I didn't see anything, but apparently what happened to me is what happens to a lot of us that have our abilities wide open. Mm-hmm. We got a crack upside the head. When I was 4, it was in Camden, New Jersey, before Camden was a hellhole. Take my sled down Kramer Hill, and nobody had taught me to fall off the sled. So I was just barreling for this cement bench and hit it, boom.
Okay.
Head first. Didn't crack my head, nothing. Nobody understood. But what's around here? Pineal gland, third eye. And that could be when I started to sense there was something else out there.
Right, okay.
I just thought this was it.
Okay. It just seems like that everybody that is part of the spiritual field, metaphysical field, something has happened to them in which it just like awakened them and started to work in this. And I believe, honestly, I believe that in my situation, God said, all right, Sean, you have big shoulders, so you can take on the world. You know what I mean? And that's what I've been doing since 1983. And when you were talking about being like the opposite of everybody in your family, it was the same way in not my family, but I so tried to fit in to different crowds, to different people, but for some reason it just did not seem I would fit in. And I was like left out or the loner, and I couldn't figure out what was going on with me, what was wrong, because I was doing everything that they were doing, but I just could not fit in. And then as time went on and I started to learn from my teachers and stuff like that, you know what? I was probably back then where I was different from others. It took me a long time to accept that, but I'm okay now with it.
That's good. It was funny. I was talking to somebody that I knew in high school, and he told me something that I didn't realize about myself. He said, you always knew when one of us was upset, one of us needed somebody to talk to, and you never really landed on us. You were very kind. You were very gentle. I don't remember doing that, but apparently I was doing intuitive counseling from freshman year in high school.
That's cool.
That's cool.
That's cool.
Hey, Corby, how would you talk to somebody who wanted to find out about their past life? Like, what would you do?
The first thing I would teach them is the difference between retrieval and regression. Past life regression, you must do with a certified hypnotherapist. They're the ones who take you down in trance and you go wandering in the Akashic to see your past lives. Mm-hmm. Now, why do you need a certified hypnotherapist? If you see your death, if it's something horrible, like you've been raped, they can literally, they have the training to pull you out, pull you away, let you be objective and still see it. Someone who is not trained, you could get stuck in that horrible tape loop over and over and over again and could damage you emotionally.
Wow.
Okay. What I do is retrieval. Somebody says to me, why this? And I'm the one that goes up to the Akashic, pulls the book, brings it down and says, read chapter 2. Perfect example. When I was teaching at Lilydale, which is a very famous spiritualist community in Western New York, with Rob Schwartz, the author of Soul's Plan, A woman had butch, short hair. She raised her hand. She said, "Can you tell me why I'm always terrified of wet hair in my face? Can't stand it." And so I went upstairs in about 5 seconds and said, "Okay, you have a 5-syllable answer, Lusitania. In 1915, you were one of the passengers on the ship when it got torpedoed by the Germans. You went down. You had not cut your hair, bobbed the way it was in teens. You still had the big Edwardian mass, so that took on a lot more water. Plus, that kind of long hair, you had debris catching in it. It pulled you down and you drowned." She looks at me. "Is that why I'm afraid to go on a cruise?" I said, "Probably." It was the download. It was what her guides wanted me to share with her so she can get past this difficulty.
Wow. That's crazy. That's, I don't know, it's amazing stuff. So you are a certified hypnotherapist? No?
No, I will not regress you. I retrieve.
Okay, so you retrieve. Okay. So, you have to go into like a state, like a meditative state. Like if I say I have been having these recurring dreams, like we said, about being in the army and being hit by a grenade. Now I come to you. What would you tell me?
Well, for instance, what I just did was about what I did in Lilydale. The way you see someone in a mediumship gallery, wait, I'm getting a woman, her name starts with P and she's wearing a Hawaiian shirt and has an umbrella, and they just grab it.
Okay.
With me, it's the instant download for past lives because spirit checks out what's in the pantry. Why can I do past lives the way I can? Theater major, author, and I am a historian by avocation, by love, and I married a historian. In fact, we met at the Rhinebeck Aerodrome, which is a flying museum in Rhinebeck, New York, and he said there was this gorgeous brunette who knew the difference between a Fokker DR1 and an F1 based on the wings. Now, Spirit sees all of that and says, we're going to tap you for past lives. Why? Somebody else might tell you, well, I see you in a long dress and a big hat, so it's old-fashioned. I can go, hobble skirt, picture hat, that kind of ostrich feather. We're talking 1911, 1912 in Berlin. Now, which one's going to give you more information?
You.
On the other hand, can't do psychometry, can't do astrology, because for me, 1 and 1 is 3 on alternate Tuesdays. Other people do that. So that's why I can do the instant download. Now, you said that it's a fence, you got hit by a grenade, and it was thrown by the Germans, so you were obviously the Allied side. Something tells me that you were French. There's a lot of blood around you. One of your friends is badly wounded next to you. And the grenade, it's funny, the grenade doesn't blow you apart so much as the concussion knocks you out. And as you fall, bullets.
Oh, okay, because it went to black.
Yep.
And I woke up.
The concussion would do that, the sound concussion. And I'm seeing this in 1943-44. So this is right in the middle of the war.
That's pretty cool. I also feel like I was telling Sean, did I tell Sean that I always see myself walking alongside Christ?
I never heard that one from you.
Maybe it was a strange person I told it to. I did. I feel like that.
I'm sure you do. But I warn people about that because 35 to 40% of the people I talk to, they're sure that they knew Christ. They're sure there's somebody famous. Like, I must have been Anne Boleyn. I can't wear a turtleneck. No, darling, that's not how it works.
I can't wear one either.
No, I'm saying that's what they told me. But when you get something like that, walking with Christ, to me, that would say probably several lives where you had a religious life, whether you were an anchorite, whether you were an abbot, something like that. Because what I'm sensing when you say that is you're not in awe, it's comfort. There's complete trust with him. And so with that, if you were with the dude, even during the time he was on Earth, people were in awe
I like
of
that
who
name, the
he was.
dude.
Um, and he looked nothing like Jeff Bridges. But when there's this deep comfort, that to me, it's if I was going to say, I would say you were probably an anchorite. Do you know what that is?
No.
Okay. There were nuns, women who were so enraptured by Jesus that they would be walled up in a tiny little room for their whole life. There would be a window where they were given food and where they talk and bless people. But in there was a cross, maybe there was a pallet, but they spent their life adoring Christ. And if you go look, some of the really powerful Christian mysticism writing was done by women who were anchorites. They literally anchored the spirit for the people around them.
Wow.
That's interesting.
That is interesting. That's awesome. That's amazing. So I probably wasn't walking with Christ. I just probably thought I wasn't. Maybe I was like a nun. I could see myself as being a nun.
I
could see that.
So much in his presence from your prayer and your meditation that walking with Christ is how your modern mind understands it, I think.
Yeah.
So
okay. Real quick, Corby. I can't wear no necklaces, chains. I can't wear no rings. I cannot have anything real tight on me. I get real claustrophobic. What happened there? Do you think happened there?
All right. So you can't wear, you say you can't wear rings. You can't wear anything around the neck. And you can't wear tight clothing. It has to be loose.
Yes.
All right. It's very interesting. When you talked about that, the clothing doesn't buzz so much, but the metal around the neck and around the hands, I get the sense that you weren't in an electric chair, but somehow you were electrocuted because of the metal you were wearing, whether it was a lightning strike or whether you were working in a substation and something hit the wrong thing. Mm-hmm. And when I see that, not only was it the shock, but so much electricity went through your body, some of the clothing fused to you.
Okay.
And you could not get it off, or they couldn't get it off when they were trying to save you. I think this is one of the ways you died, which could be why anything tight makes you feel like, no, it's got to come off. It's got to come off.
Okay.
And for you, it looks like one of the big substations in the 1930s, maybe Chicago.
Oh, really?
Yep.
Ah, interesting. Can you have a now, I always had this recurring dream too that I was in the Vietnam War, but I was alive. I was a young kid when that was going on. I was like 4 or 5. Is that possible?
You might have what is called a double drop. A double drop is when remember, audiovisual aid. This is your soul. It's way too big to fit in these little bitty bodies. A little bit of it comes down, and that's an incarnation. So it could be that you were 5, but your soul was also somewhere else in a body that was fighting over a Nam. One of my clients about 15 years ago could not understand why he kept seeing this first Battle of Manassas from 2 different directions, back and forth and back and forth. And he was always correct. We checked the maps, we checked the historical documents, and that was a case of the double drop. He may have been Union on one side and Rebel on the other.
Oh, wow. So, thank you so much.
Wow.
I appreciate that.
Trying to see, we have some people on the line that are trying to call in. Sean, you want to give the station a holler?
Oh.
Well, you have one in the queue with you right now and another one getting ready to join you.
How do we bring them in? I didn't.
Just say, hello, caller.
Oh! Well, I didn't know that. Well, hello, caller. You are on the air. Do you have a question for Corby?
Hi, can you hear me okay?
I
Hey
can.
there.
Yes.
Yeah, I have I'm going to start with one question. Maybe we can transition to the other. But my first question is, I'm in like a transition period of my life. I had an opportunity come up, and I'm unsure if I should take it or should I keep on the same path that I'm going. And I'm wondering if you can hear any, like my spirit guides or some of my relatives are kind of pushing me
Okay.
one way or the other.
What's your name, friend?
My name's Bert.
Bert. All right, Bert. Number one, I'm not talking to dead people tonight. Because when I do, it's very long because you get them directly. But for something like this, I'm a certified professional tarot reader, and I used to be an executive recruiter. So you got me on both
Oh,
sides.
that's good.
And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull 2 3s. 3 cards. This is what happens if you make the change. 3 cards for it. This is what happens if you hang loose and stay where you are. Now remember, cards, when you've read as long as I have, it's the download. Your guides will speak to you through these cards, okay? So if you take the jump and you move through something, you have to make sure, I don't know if you can see this, it's the 7 of Cups. You have to make sure that this is not lots of imagination. You have to have a direction to go. Number 2, it's victory through teamwork. You have to have people that are going to do this with you.
Caller, please turn down your microphone or your speakers.
Yeah, because I'm hearing myself 7 seconds later. So this is 6 of Wands is the victory through teamwork card. Make sure that you've got people that are doing this with you. If this is just you're going to do a franchise or something and you'd be doing it alone, no, you need to be with a group. 3rd card. Do not get depressed if it takes longer than you think. No pity parties. On the 4 of Cups card, the guy is sitting there looking at the 4 empty cups, and there's a huge, gorgeous hand on behind him with a shining cup that's the future saying, yo, psst, over here. So this is not going to be an instantaneous success, but it could work out well. If you decide to stay put where you are, you're good at it. Ace of Cups, you could stay well. 10 of Pentacles says the money will be there. And the 8 of Pentacles says probably if you study a little more, and it doesn't necessarily mean classes, but really look at this new opportunity, you might take it later. But the idea is you're not quite ready for it yet. You need to do a little more study on it. You need to make sure you know all of the background of it, all the legalities of it, then take the leap. When is your birthday, month and day?
September 12th.
All right, numerology. 9 plus 12 is 21. Always check my math. Plus this year's master number is 4. 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 0 is 4. So that's 21 plus 4 is 25. 2 plus 5 is 7. Always bring it down to the single number. 7 years is a sabbatical year, my friend. It's when you should tell everybody else to take a hike and you go to the top of the mountain and say, hello, God, it's me, Bert. Can we talk? I'll take notes. It is not the year to do business. Business rock and roll is your next year, is 8 year, 2021. So this is the year you really need to read your own entrails. What am I here to do? What do I want to keep, change out, or dump? And it's also a very important year for you health-wise, COVID notwithstanding, because it's a double brownie point year. Sex, drugs, rock and roll, diet, exercise, meditation, whatever you do, you're going to get twice the bang for the buck, so do the smart thing. Altogether, I would say, look at the new opportunity. This is not the year to grab it. Next year is better. But start doing the studying and make sure you do a deep dish on this so you know what you're leaping to when you do it. Clear?
Yeah, I appreciate your time and cleared a lot of things up for me.
That's my job.
Thanks, Bert. You have a great night. Is there another caller on the line? You're on the air.
Okay. Hi, Jeannie. This is Joni.
Hi, Joni.
Hi, Joni.
Hey, John. How are you? Anyway, can you give me a reading what I was in my past life?
Okay. Joni, we've had hundreds of past lives. So in order to zing on one that will have any kind of meaning for you, I need to know an obsession or a phobia.
Well, I don't have any phobias, but I have I've been depressed a lot.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm obsessed with reading books.
Okay. Depression. Hello, it's 2020. It's murder hoarded bingo. Get in line.
Yeah, right?
As far as the books go, when I take a look at that, I see you in one of those round turret rooms where there are bookshelves floor to ceiling. So this is one of those old Victorians. You are what they would have called a blue stocking. Blue stocking is what they called women who like to read and like to think when women were not supposed to read and think. You were wearing glasses, the little round that you put over your ears. And my sense is you were taking care of an invalid parent. You didn't get married. And the invalid parent was getting older and older and kind of sleeping during most of the day. So you spent your days in the library escaping. I think you spoke a couple of languages, because I'm seeing you with some books of Greek and Latin, which means that your brother probably was taught and you picked it up from there. Women were not taught Greek and Latin in the 19th century, not often. And your foots, I see you in a squishy chair, feet on a hassock in front of the fire, and just immersed in this massive book. Looks like one of the classics, Robert Louis Stevenson, something like that. And it's just, you're oblivious to the rest of the world. No, you didn't get married. No, you didn't have kids. I know I'm supposed to want that, but if I have my books and I'm doing my duty to my father, I'm good. So that's where it is. The depression, the tendency toward depression may come because most of your lives, you're not gregarious. You're not in the middle of everything. You tend to live in your own mind and your own head. And this is a life when you can't do that. You've got to get out and contact, at least as soon as we're all allowed to, and not social distance. Wow. Got it?
Yep. Can I tell you something though? Because you were when you said that, women are not supposed to read, be smart, yada yada yada. I was born in the 1960s, and I'm physically handicapped. And when I was born, they told my mom that I wasn't going to be able to speak or learn anything.
Wow.
So your life is, your mantra is, oh yeah, watch me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good going.
I see you writing books, Joni.
Oh, writing books?
Yeah, I think you should start one. Well, thanks for giving us a call.
Okay, thank you.
You have a great night.
Bye-bye.
We have another caller on the line.
Hi, this is Tara.
Hi, Tara.
Hey, Tara.
How are you?
Hey, Tara.
Good. How about you?
Good. You have a question?
I was wondering if I could. Yes, I wanted to have a mini reading. I'm in a little bit of a decision in my life, and I want to know where it's going.
Okay. Without knowing the decision, I'm being told to pull 4 cards for you. When's your birthday, Joni, month and day?
Pardon me?
When is your birthday?
November 5th.
11 plus 5 is 16 plus 4 is 20. 2 plus 0 is 2. Okay. A 2-year is the year you need to do it from behind, and I'm not being dirty here. The idea is, if you tell everybody what you want them to do, no one will do it. You let everyone know that what you want to do is really their idea, and they're out the door. So it's a year for fudge factor, negotiation, compromise, and a lot of patience. Next year gets better. 2021 is a 3-year for you, which is social and creative and right-brained and delicious. But you got to be careful because you're going to be scattered like a cat with too many toys. Okay? So,
Okay.
4 cards, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual for you. Physically, the 9 of Cups card. Now, everybody thinks the 9 of Cups card is the wishes fulfilled card, but there's a secondary meaning. Be careful what you wish for, because you're going to get it. So whatever is around you physically, make sure that's what you really, really want, and it's not what other people wanted or what you used to want 20 years ago. Okay?
Okay.
Mentally, 5 of Pentacles. Now that's the dancing on quicksand cards. I think that you're very back and forth on a lot of things here. You know, they've done studies with this big bug adventure that we're all in. It's brain fog. We've all got it. So it's important that you find a way to focus and get the distractions out of the way. It's one of the reasons that you're not sure where to go on these directions. Emotionally, Ace of Wands. The Ace of Wands is big thumbs up for new beginnings. So if this will bring you something new, if this will bring you out of the hamster wheel that you've been on for a while, you know what I mean by that, it's a good thing.
Yep.
And interestingly, I thought I pulled 1 card. Spirit gave you 2 for spiritual. The 9 of Wands. Been there, done that, sold the franchise card, but the 9 of Wands is always there's one more test to go through. And the next card, the 2 of Wands, which is your ship isn't in quite yet, but it's close. So for you, I would say if you want this new direction, go toward it, but a little slowly. Don't jump. Make sure that you are planted well. Make sure that you've got all the answers, because what I'm hearing is you may have somebody involved who's a bit of a flim-flam artist, and you need to tell them, whoa, slow down, back it up. I want you to tell me that again. Okay? Making sense?
Yes, it does.
Good. It's my job.
Yeah. Thanks. Have a great night.
Thanks, Tara. Caller, you're on the line. Caller?
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, this is Terry from Minnesota.
Hi, Terry. How are you?
Hi, Terry.
Hey, Terry.
I'm good. I have some things that keep reoccurring in my life that I don't really understand. One is the number 13. The other is I don't like anything around my neck. I don't like to be in any kind of water where I can't see the bottom. And I can't have my back to a window or a door.
All right, now that may not all be one life, okay, because those are 3 distinct things. What I mostly felt was the water thing, and I'm seeing you trying to save a sibling, a younger brother or sister, and the problem was they were so panicked. They gripped you around the neck so that you couldn't breathe, and they were flailing so hard they kept pulling you under. There was a rip tide, a rip current. That's what you were trying to save them from. When I look, I'm seeing like the 19 teens or 20s, Atlantic City, because these are what they would call the shocking bathing suits. They're like boy bathing suits for us now. But it was not the old-fashioned bathing costume where you were dressed head to toe. And what I'm sensing, it's, you know how you carry a little kid where their legs are through your arms? It was like that. We're trying to pull him out, but he grabbed you so tight and was so panicked, he wouldn't let go. And he kept pulling you backwards. You're losing your gravity. And so both of you went under. And were both pulled out to sea and drowned. Is making some sense?
It does.
Okay. You're not going to do it again. You can stop being scared now.
Thanks, Terry. You have a great night.
You're welcome.
Caller, you're on the air. Caller, you're on the air.
The queue's clear right now.
Okay, cool. We'll get back to the talking then. Well, those are great readings, Corby. I have a question for you. I was reading your book, The Magic. Oh, let me see.
You've got The Magic Who Needs a Genie?
Yes. Okay, for somebody who wants to start doing that. Now, your book did not, because it was published in May, I believe. And for somebody in the virtual world, because I know you mentioned a lot of places that you can go to set up. What would you tell somebody in this COVID situation? Like, how would they get started doing it online?
Okay. If you notice the very end of the book, we did have a little square that says this book is being published in the middle of the big bug adventure. The information is still going to be useful after we come out of lockdown, and we will.
Mm-hmm.
So the things that you can do now, in all seriousness, you get your URL, you get your website, you read for as many, it depends on A, what's your specialty, and B, how long you've been doing it. If you're someone that said, well, I'm retired now, but I read cards in high school, and so I'm going to start reading now. My darling, do you know how many people are doing that? Oh, my God. If you want to do this, you are going to have to pay your dues, which means find places to read for free, find places to read by small donation. It is important that you get your social media. Is it ridiculous? God, yes, it is. But I got told, we can't put you forward for anything big until your numbers are at least 4 figures. Wow. So that's Instagram and Pinterest and Twitter and a Facebook page.
Wow.
I've been reading literally almost 50 years. I still do a once a month free reading hour on Facebook.
Wow.
YouTube. There are some people that do daily card readings on YouTube. The key is, there's an old saying, when a fisherman can't go fishing, he mends his nets. And so you can do a lot virtually now. With Zoom, with Skype, with Facebook, with TikTok, with Instagram. So that's where you practice. Make sure that you know what your specialty is. And deep dish, you don't have to know everything. You truly, truly don't. If you love cards, but, it's like a lot of people use a pendulum. I can't. I have a slight benign tremor in one hand, like Katharine Hepburn. So I don't trust what I get. Spend this time learning what you love, because the more you
mute your phone, please.
It really works, and you will get known. The other thing is enjoy it. If you look at me, you will see I am not what I call glurpy purple with angels. I say, look, my aura is, I have a normal aura. My aura don't stink is what people say when they think that they're all that, and a sage.
Yes.
No,
I know.
We do this, the most important thing, we're in service.
Awesome.
We're the tube. The information comes through us. We're not it. You start doing that, and you will get into the work and love the work and have such a good time with it. You will get up every morning, not have to get up every morning to practice your art.
Awesome. Caller, you're on the air.
I got a call back. We had to drop them because they were giving us double audio.
Okay. All right. Well, Corby, when you found out that you could talk to deceased people, were you a little scared, or how did you know that that's who you were talking to?
It happened in 94, and it was working with someone out in Colorado. She was a friend at the time, and it just literally went boom. I knew enough about the historical character that was coming to me that I knew what would make sense and what didn't. And we went back and found his biography written in the 1920s and 30s in Fraktur, which is that weird German script. And a lot of what I was picking up from him was exactly what was in the book. And I had never seen the book before.
Wow.
Now, what I do when I talk to dead people now, first thing I tell people is, remember, we're not dial-a-dead. Aunt Ruby's on a field trip up. And I know, the best medium I ever saw was the late, great Allie Cheslick here in Albany, New York, who would just open up and boom, everybody would come through. It's like a party line and everyone had a number. You'll line up. I do mine a little differently. I tend to use the dog tags. What's that? For instance, my father, Jerome Richard Dorkin, who died in 2001 at the age of 80. Notice, tells me nothing, but it immediately gets me into the energy. And then what happens is it's almost like charades. They smoked, they toked, they ate a lot, they had an accident, they were intubated or on oxygen. And no, I didn't say to my spirit guides, I want this to mean this. They just showed me. this is what we're going to do. And so once I'm sure that we have your dead person, I open up the door and they talk to me directly. I will tell you the PG version of why I don't do mediumship publicly on the air. Canastota, New York. A woman sat down with me. She was part of a same-gender biracial couple. Her black partner had died, and she wanted to speak to her. Now, mind you, I grew up a nice Jewish kid in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. I have manners. Well, as soon as I got her person, the first things that were rolling out of my mouth were flawless urban ebonics, and I am not going to say it on the radio because I could not. And I'm thinking, oh! And the woman in front of me is doing this and laughing and crying because it is how Belinda used to walk into the house after every business trip.
Wow.
Now, you can't do that live.
No.
And sometimes the talks are very intense and personal. One I can tell, woman wanted to speak to her husband who had died 6 months before. And you see how I am. All of a sudden, my head tilts, my arms go, "Hi, baby!" He was from breakfast every night. That's how he walked in. And I trust that. I'm pickier than my clients are about what we're getting, because there is nothing worse than giving people vagaries. You know, I see a woman in a flowered dress handing you a rose. It's your grandmother. Oh, can I vomit now? No, that does not work. So it's an honor. It really is. But
I agree.
For anything I take lightly.
Absolutely. How are we at with time, Sean?
We have till 5 after 8.
Okay. Do we have another caller on the line waiting in the queue?
Right now it's tumbleweeds.
Nobody.
Okay, because I thought I saw it. That's cool. Okay, that's good. It means we have more talk time. Yeah, there was another question I wanted to ask you. Okay, so you said you had to learn how to... Oh, I'm sorry, Sean. Do you have any questions for Corby?
No, I'm just intrigued with her. That's all. I'm enjoying this.
Yeah,
tonight.
I am too. So you said you had to learn the cards. Now, how long did it take you to learn how to read cards?
Well, remember, in 1973, we were all hippies. We had our elephant bell-bottoms, our Finch jackets, and our decks. And I bought the James Bond 007 tarot deck because that was when Live and Let Die came out. I was fascinated by the pictures. So I carried them everywhere. I read for anybody I had a chance to. And that's why everything, broke open in 94, because my spirits figured you did your boot camp, you did your work. The key is to learn to tell a story with them and also understand the meanings.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
But the meanings is the allegory. The deck that I love is by Eric Dunn. It's the Tarot Illuminati. And to me, it's the most gorgeous deck I have ever seen. Now, let's take a look at the star card. In the star card, you normally have the stars that are behind the woman who has the jug and she's in the water. I explain to people that those stars are like, if you ever watched a guy who's cleaning windows, he's got that safety harness. The stars are God saying, "I've got you, babe. You will not fall."
Oh, that's a good way.
Another card that a lot of people know is the Six of Swords. And that's got that woman in a boat, and she looks really, really sad. And what I explain to people is, in order to go from the rough waters to the smooth, the woman in the boat mourns because she had to leave things behind, things that told her who she was or who she'd been, or her boat wouldn't float. So you have some things that you have to leave behind in order to move forward.
I like the way you're reading your cards. See, when I started out with a tarot deck, and I had a hard time understanding the definitions of each card. So whenever I'd flip a card for a client or anything like that, I just picked up what that card at the time, what I saw, and I explained to them.
It's the same thing for everybody. But that's why I also use half a dozen Oracle decks, because Oracle decks don't have the same stringent rules. And each one of my decks tells me what they want to be used for. This is a brand new one. It's Wisdom of Lord Ganesha. It's gorgeous, gorgeous artwork. And this is for when someone needs some emotional understanding about what they're going through. That's my nice deck. Then you've got the Fairies Oracle. It's by Brian Froud, the guy who did the puppetry for Labyrinth and Dark Crystal. And I use this deck when somebody needs a clue brick upside the head, because these are not fairies. They march inside your head, they rip up the floor tiles and give you homework.
Oh, my.
Cool.
So it's not just tarot. Don't be afraid to go with oracle cards. I teach a course called Decadance, and people walk in and find out that they can read any non-tarot deck the minute they pick it up. Literally.
Yes.
They had no idea they could, but of course, we're all wired like the same house plan. We all have 10 fingers. Some of us can play chopsticks, and some of us are Elton John. You've got the wiring. If you practice, you can get good. I am not the only good psychic in the world, kids, and there's room for more.
What about angel cards?
I've got one deck. Again, I go for the art. Angel cards are good. I am someone who sees angels as much more powerful beings than the Hallmark kind of thing. So I don't talk with angel cards that much. I will download your angel.
Oh, really?
Again, angels and spirit guides, we all have them.
Well, how do you download your angel?
It says, can I talk to my spirit guides? And I go upstairs and I, there you go. We all have at least one angel. They're with us from birth to death. They have our names in the back of their tunics like cam tags, I belong. Spirit guides grow and change as we do, like teachers. You don't have the same teacher from kindergarten to PhD. So my original spirit guides, when I connected with them, were people that I flew with 100 years ago. And,
cool.
They saved my bacon over France in the Western Front. So these were people that I trusted. And I would immediately feel the comfort of someone that I knew had my back.
Hey, Jenny, it is 8:05.
Okay. I was just getting into it. Okay. Well, we're going to have to say goodbye, Corby, but I want to thank you for joining us tonight. It was delightful and very interesting. Tell our listeners where they can learn more about you and your books.
You can't avoid me, guys. You go to CorbyMitleid.com. There are tons of articles there. There's information on all the books. The books are all available on Amazon. On Facebook, you'll find me at firethroughspirit.com. Check. You'll see when I'm doing my free reading hours every month.
Oh, cool.
You can find me as Corby Mitleid on Pinterest, LinkedIn, Instagram, and Twitter.
Awesome. Well, thanks again.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah. And Sean, tell our audience where someone can get in touch with you for a ghostly investigation. Yeah, just go to our Facebook page, Pittsburgh Paranormal Society, and leave us a message, and we'll get back to you tomorrow. Awesome.
Or whenever.
And I just want to remind people we have a Facebook Live tomorrow, special edition at 10 p.m. Sean's going to be doing a live investigation, so that should be very interesting. And I want to welcome everyone to continue the conversation on Facebook and remember Friday Night Live and Pittsburgh Paranormal Chasing Prophecy Facebook page, YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe, and please check out my author page on Amazon. I am J.E. Nicasio. My trilogy From the Sky is there with Equinox and Aurora Curtin. And I also have a Halloween, The Haunting Tales of Twilight. It's a short story Halloween book, and you can check that out on Amazon.com. Next week, we will have another special guest, and that's another surprise because we have to make sure we have it booked right. But remember to like us on Facebook and Instagram, and check out chasingprophecy.com, radio.com. We look forward to your ghostly stories. Send them to chasingprophecy@gmail.com, and stay safe. Good night, everyone, and thank you for tuning in for Chasing Prophecy. Have a great night.
Good night, everybody.
Good night.